Welcome to the Spinoso Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Spinoso. My experience and expertise is in scaling all types of medical companies, and this is a podcast telling you how I did it. I want to build your business, take ownership of your life, and become a better leader. I want to help you build your business, take ownership of your life, and become a better leader at home and at work. So let's get into it. As always, we have Miss Amanda May in the building.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I heard that you recently had a Charismedx event and I wasn't invited, which was a little sad because I've been invited to every one of them. But some of the girls were like, "Why weren't you there?" I was like, "Because I wasn't invited."
Well, it's okay. We got you. We didn't get you there, but we got you working with all the girls on Stature Skincare
We
after that
did.
because they were talking nothing but good shit about it. No, it was
Yeah, it was
amazing. Yeah,
fun.
we had our Charismedx event, our Q1 event here in Dallas. Our Q2 event is already being scheduled. We're looking at some pretty cool places for that. It'll be in
Can
the
I be
middle of the
invited
summer,
to
so it'll
that
be
one?
nice. I don't know. You guys talk to Vaughn. You're not a paying member. You don't get to show up. You're like a vendor. But
I'm a
it's
great cheerleader, though.
you could be cheerleader. There you go. Quietly in the corner.
Mhm.
But no, it was really, really great. It's very cool to see how much the clinics that we work with personally have significantly grown or improved. I think in one conversation she went back, changed some things around in her business, and she added another, I think, $140,000 of EBITDA to her business after that meeting.
Wow.
One of the girls before that, about a month before, we had changed some things around with her business and guided her on some stuff, and she implemented it, and her payroll went from like 33% to 21% of her gross earnings, and again, significantly improving her business. Probably added another $100,000 plus of EBITDA to her business. Um, some of the clinics are they started as side businesses. Now they're becoming like their full-time businesses and they're looking at new leases and growth. One girl is going from 2 rooms to looking at like a 4 to 6 room lease. So it's amazing to see all these clinic owners like really improve their lives and stuff. And that's what we do in Charismedx. And it's been really cool to see them do that. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the women that I've gotten to work with from Stature that are coming over to start
Mhm.
using the skincare, I mean, they were just going on about how amazing it was
Good.
and what a great event it was, and then I told them that they needed to give you guys shit that I wasn't invited,
Yeah.
and,
There you go.
they laughed, but no, it was really fun, so congrats, 'cause, I've been at a few, but to see some of these new women coming in and just they're stoked.
Yeah.
They're stoked about the excitement around what's changing and and
Mhm.
and having some support to figure out like where are the inefficiencies and small things that they just don't know to look at that when you shift it make a really big impact
Huge. And
in your
we've been figuring out our services as well and processes, and we're gonna be doing a lot. We're pouring a lot into helping support these clinics like grow and things and figuring out how many we could truly take on. I think at the upper we call it the Empire members. I think we're only going to take on 25 total Empire members at this point because that's all we're going to be able to do because we both run real businesses outside of the outside of the group. So I think that's where we'll kind of cut it off. So if you want to be a part of Charismedx, we're gonna cut it off at 25 at the top level, and then we'll have the online level, which we call the elite members, open to everybody. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been really cool, really fulfilling to see people achieve their dreams and really grow their business and go after it.
That's awesome. Well, congrats.
Thank you.
I haven't given you crap for that yet, so I
Yeah,
figured this was a good time to do it.
that works perfectly. Public public humiliation is always
Yeah.
the best way to do things.
You're
You
welcome.
learned it here
I learned it
with
from
Amanda
I
May.
learned it from
You
you
learned it from
though.
me.
I learned it from you. No, today we're going to talk about why motivation feels like a trap
Mhm.
and is a trap, just doesn't feel like it. It is a trap and what actually drives results in business, which kind of a good head up when we're talking about charismatics and people actually having results. They're
Yep.
not coming to a meeting where it's rah rah rah. No, it's taking action and doing things that actually drive results in your business. And while you might feel motivated, what's the difference between motivation and movement? Because I think that's like, while same type of word, two very different
Yeah.
feelings. And we have talked about this offline too. The world is focused right now on highlight reels and
Mhm.
what looks good and hype and all these things about staying fired up. And it's like, what place does that play when it comes to actually scaling your business? And you went from Dartmouth, which is a medical school, to building multiple eight-figure companies. So when it comes to daily enthusiasm for what you're doing and the excitement in that there's gonna be days where it just does not feel exciting.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
There is gonna be multiple days where you feel like, "Man, this is rough." There's gonna be days where you feel like you can't get out of bed, but that's what's gonna separate you from everyone else. It's
Or
yeah.
turning 40
Yeah,
and
turning
hurting your
40 and
hip
yeah, and
and
feeling like you're gonna die because your hip just exploded when you're 40 years old. Yeah, so
Well, just so you know, that did not happen when I turned 40. So,
oh, good for you.
yeah, yeah, another public humiliation.
Yeah,
I'm
there you go.
2
Good for
years
you.
2 years older.
Yeah.
I'm doing better.
Yep.
Doing
Mhm.
better. Anyway, so let's get in on the main points here of this podcast, with the first one being you got to get clear on what you actually want, and not what you think you want.
Yeah. This is a huge I mean, this is everything right here. This point is probably the most important point out of anything because people just start with, I want money in mind. And look, I'm not saying that's bad, but what I am saying is that if you don't have a specific amount of money you want to earn, if you don't have a specific look, it could start materialistic. It could start with I want to drive this car or I want to live in this house. I want to attract this type of spouse, man or woman. Like if you don't get crystal clear on that about where you are going, then again, if you get in your car and you're trying to drive somewhere that you've never been before and you don't have a map and you don't have GPS and you don't have the old school way we used to do it, with pulling out the Rolodex of cities and streets, then you're never going to get there. You never will because you don't know where the end goal is. You don't know the steps to getting there. And again, that's where most people go wrong before they even start. They're pursuing things because of their parents told them to do it or because it looks impressive or because we saw it online and they want it and they might not even like cars but they see everybody renting Lamborghinis and they think, man, I got to really work for a Lamborghini. Or I've got friends who like tractors. Like that's their thing, is they like tractors. But again, you don't see people posting, for the most part, a lot of their cool tractors online or shit like that. They are focused on what everyone else wants, not what they actually want. And you're not going to be able to sustain the ups, the downs, the grind, the shitty parts in life if you are doing it for someone else. If you're doing it for uh, other people's satisfaction rather than your own, or rather with your families or whoever you're working it for. So the first question you have to answer honestly is this something I truly want? And then the follow up with that is, what do I truly want? And write it down, visualize it in detail about, if it's a certain type of car, what does the interior look like? What does it feel like? If it's a certain type of house and you walk in, what does the house look like? What does it feel like? What is the layout? Not something I think I should want, not something that looks good on Instagram, not something that's gonna earn other people's approval. Truly something you genuinely, personally want for your own life. And that's the
Mhm.
way I think about things now too, is that what do I really want? Do I really want this? Yeah, you know, or again, no. I mean, I've thought a lot about, living on a large amount of land would be cool, but do I really want that? I think when I really think about it, no, because I know how much work it is to live on a lot of land growing up. There's just a lot of shit you got to do for that land and a whole staff you got to run, and as something I don't want to do right now at all. So it's okay. I don't want more land because it's just gonna be more pain in the ass for what I want. So what is it with what you want? The clarity that you get in what you want is gonna be the foundation that everything else becomes built on.
Mm,
Because without that, you're gonna quit when the time gets hard. Because you're never really were in it for yourself, and that's gonna sound really selfish, but it is. Like, in order for you to go through the hardest of the hard times, the suckiness, the depression, the whatever to be great, you have to want it for yourself. You have to want something for
mm.
yourself.
Yeah. When you were talking, I felt like it's what do you want even if no one else knows you have it?
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Is that to the point like I want that because I'm gonna impress other people. But
Yeah.
what if you want it and you never post about it? Nobody maybe your family, right? Your
Mhm.
immediate family knows you
Mhm.
have it,
Mhm.
but it's not something you even need to share. Like
Right.
that's a true authentic, I want that because
Yeah.
I want it,
Yeah. Exactly.
not because I'm getting something else out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the things that you want that other people are like, "Ah, I would never spend money on that," sort of thing. Like, okay,
Mhm.
cool, and not for you anyways, sort of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Sometimes I assess that with, even, what I will post on social media.
Mm,
Like, there might be times where I'm like, "Oh, I should post that. That's cool," whatever. But I will often do, like, a quick check-in. Like, what if I just didn't post this? Do I
mhm,
feel as great about it? And if I do, it's
that's
like, "Well, I
really
don't
good.
even really need
That's
to
really
post
good.
this anyway."
Repeat that again. That's really good.
I don't know if I can.
Okay, okay.
But if I never post this, so I'll do a quick assessment. Like,
Yeah,
if I don't post this, do I feel just as excited about it?
yeah, that's huge.
Because if I do, then I don't really need to share it with anyone.
Yeah,
Because I find I'm probably not the only one, but if I am, it's fine. I find that when I post on social media, my attention is going back to see if I should engage with anyone else that has commented.
yep,
So it almost takes the freedom out of, I really just enjoyed this moment or this thing for myself and my own family to who replied, who said what,
yeah,
who do I need to reply back to? And it takes my attention off of the thing that I was really just enjoying having. So that I haven't been posting very much on social for that reason. I thought about that yesterday actually. Um, with Elia because I decided that I really wanted to do intimate settings, for holidays and birthday and stuff, so we're not doing, like, birthday parties anymore, not doing, like, having the family over for Christmas, like, just I'm not doing that anymore because I really want to absorb and soak in these moments with her,
mhm,
and when I have other people in the space, it becomes about what they need and what they want, and it's
yep,
like, Easter's for her.
mhm,
Finding an Easter basket's for her.
yeah,
You know, Christmas morning is about her,
yeah,
and Isaac lives with us, so, obviously for him too, but
mhm,
it's about them enjoying the thing that we spent time on
yeah,
that we think they're gonna like,
yeah,
and if I mean, Christmas this year, she had, like, 5 presents. She didn't open till, like, 1 o'clock in the afternoon because it was just, like, she opened things and she played with it for a while,
mhm,
and we just, like, whatever she wanted was fine. I didn't
yeah,
have the pressure of anyone else, and I just didn't post about it
yeah,
because it was, like, a day for us, and Easter was like that too. Yesterday was just she was so excited to find an Easter basket, and I have these beautiful photos that capture how she felt,
yeah,
but I was just like, "I don't really wanna share this with anyone."
mhm,
This was just such a great moment at home with
yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah,
But it's like that kinda stuff.
yeah,
And I think about that too, even with buying things, like, we went to, really cool event for Sean because they wrapped Lioness. So it was a wrap
oh,
party. All the
cool,
directors were there and
mhm,
actors and actresses, and it was really fun. Um, and I bought a new dress and I thought, oh my God, I have to have a nude purse. But I need to have, and my head went down this path of like, I have to have a matching purse and it needs to be a designer purse.
mm,
And I was like, I don't need that shit.
mhm,
Why do I need that?
yeah,
I don't need that.
mhm,
Like, there are other things I want that truly make me happy,
mhm,
but I wanna buy this nude designer purse because why? Because somebody at this party might see me?
mhm.
Who cares? I was like, "Sean, hold my lipstick. I'm
Yeah.
not taking
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not even taking a purse," you
Yeah,
know?
there you go.
And so it's just like, I just really started assessing
Yeah,
those things, not just in business, but life. And the more clear you are around what do you really want?
yeah,
And if nobody else knew about it, but it made you happy,
yeah.
that feels like an aligned decision on what you truly want.
Yeah, there's a beautiful scene in the movie called, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. It's an old Ben Stiller movie.
Mm.
He's a news reporter, I think, and I can't remember the I can't remember the entire story other than the fact that he's supposed to go find this wildlife photographer and, find him and ask him a question or something like that. And he ends up going on all these crazy adventures and ends up finding the photographer in the middle of nowhere taking photos of a snow leopard, who's supposed to be super rare. And there's a scene where they're both sitting there on the side of a mountain, and the snow leopard pops up, and the photographer's looking at it through the lens, and Ben Stiller looks at him. He's like, "What are you doing? Take the shot, like, take the photo." And he goes, "Oh, if I really enjoy a moment, just for me, then sometimes I just don't take the shot,
Mm.
and I just sit in it in that moment." And I think that's part of that. I think
Mhm.
it's people are losing that more and more because of social media, and I'm guilty of it too, having to post everything and review everything, and this is my life, and this is who I am, and yada, yada, yada about me sort of thing when they just don't sit in their life anymore. They don't just look around anymore. Uh, and I am extremely guilty of that. But I think that's part of it is like, is that what you really want? Is that what you're really looking for in the end?
Mhm.
Is that if that's those Christmas mornings and those Easter mornings are what you really want, what you're really working for, then sit in it. You don't have to post it. You don't have to take pictures of it or you have to do anything about it. Because you end up with your memory being the phone in front of your face capturing the thing that you should have been present for.
Yeah, to take that even one step further, I think about even when we take pictures, we're taking ourselves out of the present moment to go back to a past time that maybe felt good then,
Hmm.
but then it takes you out of the present moment of like, when I look at pictures of Elia from a year ago, yeah, I like having those. But if I'm looking at those instead of just being with her now in this space as a 2.5-year-old, like it takes me away from the present every time I wanna go back and look at something from the past. And I think that goes in business too when you base your business, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, when you base your business off everything that has worked or hasn't worked in the past, or something that has worked or hasn't worked from somebody else, you take yourself out of feeling what is right now for you.
Hmm.
There is no one else, no one that has ever had the business the way you have it, with the people you have it, at the time you have it.
Hmm.
It is a unique situation. And you have to take that moment and go, what is right now? What is happening now
Yep.
for me? Because yes, you can take wisdom and things from other people, but it's still not going to be, even if they did it that way and it was successful for them, doesn't mean that is exactly what you should do.
Hmm.
So feeling and being in touch with what do I really want helps you get out of the cycle of the next highlight, the highlight reel that you feel like you have to post online or the hype of it. And you go, no matter what happens, I'm moving authentically in my right now to make decisions today,
Yep.
to solve problems today, to take that next step for tomorrow. Like staying really present
Hmm.
is what it feels like.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that when you know what you want and you know that that's authentic for you and that you're clear on what you really want, it's a lot easier to do that.
Yep.
Feels confusing when you bring in all the outside, like, "This is what I should do. This is what I shouldn't do."
Exactly. Hmm.
When did you have to make a hard choice between what was expected of you and what you truly wanted?
Mm. I think as I've gotten older and probably through even the business now, I haven't done much that has been quote unquote expected of me that I didn't want to do anymore. Because I think I've gotten to the point and I was comfortable enough in my decisions. I was like, nah, I'm not going to do what the fuck you tell me to just because you have an expectation of me to do it. No, sorry. And I tell people that all the time now. Just because you said yes to something a day ago doesn't mean that the answer is still yes today. It's not. So that's totally fine. If you feel like there's a different direction you have to go in, or you got to pivot, or you got to grow, or you got to do X or Y or Z. There's plenty of people that have said, yeah, let's do business. And then a month later, their job or their position or their vendor has been rendered obsolete. And I'm like, okay, you're done. You know, we're not going to move forward with you anymore. I've done that more than once. And the problem is if you people will say, the old school way of doing it is if you commit to something, you gotta stay in it and you gotta commit, but that burns your business to the ground.
Mhm.
That burns you to the ground because you end up spending a whole bunch of time, money, effort saying yes to other people when it's not things that, as you've talked about, move the needle forward or move you forward. So I don't recommend anybody making the hard choice of that shouldn't be a hard choice anymore. Like what is expected of you? Fuck that. It should be 100% what you actually want to do. Now, again, there is that being said of you are expected we're not talking about you are expected to be a good fucking human being or you are expected to not break the law.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're expected to not murder people. That's not what I'm talking about, people. Because there'll always be some idiot that's like, well, what about murdering? I want to murder people. Like, no, that's not. We're talking about decent human beings.
Mhm.
But I think the last time I've had to make a hard choice that was expected of me and not what I actually wanted probably was childhood when my dad said, you got to stick with this instead of that, etc., because I made a commitment. Which again, you can't go back and say I regret that or no. There's the butterfly effect where that decision might have changed the entire trajectory of my entire life, and I don't have a beautiful wife and 4 kids, and the businesses that I have, etc. So you can't go back and say what if anymore. But I would encourage people to stop making hard choices that are based off what people expect of them. It
Mhm.
just they just stop that.
Yeah. And even going a little lighter than murder,
Yeah,
if you're if you take a position and you're clear on what the role is that you have
yeah.
within that company,
Hmm.
there is an expectation of you to do your job.
Yes,
That's not what
absolutely,
we're
there you go.
saying.
That's exactly yep, exactly.
But if you
They expect me to work
decide
at this job.
yeah, they want me to be busy,
Yeah,
right? So, but if you decide that those are things you do not want to do, then it's time to find another job.
yep,
So there's that. But I find that now, and maybe this comes with wisdom, but also certainty. As I've gotten older, it's easier to say, I'm not going to do that.
mhm.
But it doesn't have to come from a nasty, resisted place. Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
Like, cause
exactly,
that feels different too,
100%.
because that breaks relationships apart.
Yep,
Because there's a lot of relationships you might say, hey, I'm not going to do that, which is just a boundary. It's just clarity, really. It's
yeah,
like you're speaking your truth clearly to someone else. Like,
yep,
that doesn't work for me when that's done in a respectful way and
yeah,
communicate, and it's truly just that's not gonna work for me, I'm not gonna do that. When it's said in that kind of way, you still maintain quality relationships, and I would have to say, I've actually seen in my own life where relationships get even better
yep,
because you have more understanding of, like, who is this person and who I am, and speaking your own truth allows
100%.
for the freedom to show up truly as you are versus trying to be something for someone else.
Exactly.
I have found too, in working with a lot of different people, when I get down to why people say yes to things they don't actually want to do or that don't feel aligned, it usually has something to do with pleasing someone from their past.
Mm,
Well, my mom didn't accept me when I told her how I truly felt, so I have to just say yes to everything because I'm trying to get that acceptance.
yep,
There's something else embedded in that when somebody isn't free to express what they actually truly want in their own life.
exactly.
So,
So what she's not saying is that go back to work and tell your boss, "Well, no, I'm not gonna do that respectfully," because guess what? Unless it's illegal, you're gonna get fired. Period. So don't do that shit.
I was listening to the Spinoza podcast,
Yeah.
and they told
Yeah,
me
they told me
I
that I
don't
just
have
have
to
to
do that.
respectfully say no to you. It's like, "Okay, well, you're respectfully unemployed
Well,
now."
yeah, yeah.
So,
It's clarity in where and how that comes to play, obviously. If your job, however, is not aligned with who you are and what you truly want, then you should respectfully
yeah,
find a new job.
exactly.
And that opens up the space for that company to find somebody who is a better fit for the position.
Exactly.
So that ends up, it can work out
Yeah,
both ways.
which brings us to number 2, which is know what you don't want as much as what you do want. Like,
Mhm.
what are you gonna bring into your life? Because people don't talk about this enough. They talk about all the things that they do want, but the really successful people know that taking things away or removing things from their life is what's going to move them forward, not
Mhm.
continuously stacking on the yeses. So, knowing what you want is pretty powerful, but knowing what you're absolutely refusing to accept moving forward, that can be just as powerful. So, coming out of medical school, I knew I didn't want to be in a position that required me to be in the hospital all the time. And I knew I didn't want to do normal primary care all the time. I those jobs are overworked, they're underpaid, they're grinding for decades inside of a system that was built to keep people, you know, in the system
Mhm.
itself, not breaking free. They teach you that taking any type of money whatsoever for healthcare is illegal and you're going to get in trouble, except they're all hospitals that are for profit and you know
The irony in
the
that.
the irony in that and all that crap, the irony in that and all that crap, you end up working for somebody for, pennies on the dollar, and I didn't want that. So, that refusal was essentially revolting against the outcome that was set up for me, which was go to school, right, go to med school, do your residency, right out of residency, work for the man, work in a hospital system, and that was it. And that wasn't good enough for me. So my actions drove me to not have that because that's not what I wanted to do. And since then, I've gone back into the hospital a few times, not to work, but to care for family members or see family members or see other people. And every time I step foot in a hospital now, I fucking hate it. I hate it because it becomes like really just this visceral feeling now when I walk in there that I'm like, I hate doing this. Like I could not. And that is now what drives me. That fear of, man, if this doesn't work out and I have to walk back into a place like this, I don't think I would survive. I am not sure I'm hard enough to survive that life from now on. That hospital smell, the way it's set up, the dinging, the ringing, the bright fluorescent lights, the lack of life. Like, I don't think I could do that. And so, when you're living in those conditions, when you wake up and you never want to go back to it, you know, you don't need somebody to hype you up anymore. You just need that memory of like, I don't want to fucking go back there ever again.
Yeah.
And it was the same feeling that I got when I knew there was something wrong that I had to leave the prison system because I started to wake up every day with that dreaded feeling of like, man, this job fucking sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. And that should be your indication that you need to go somewhere else. If you wake up and you're like, "Man, this sucks." Not necessarily because the people suck or like the work is super hard, it's just like you feel that this sucks. I want to do something else. Then that's when you should definitely look at leaving or going somewhere else because again, you're inviting the things you don't want into your life at that time And Brent and I have had this conversation where we're adults now. We can literally hang out with, do business with, talk to whoever we want. And we don't have to talk to nobody we fucking don't want to anymore.
It's great.
Like it's amazing. Like I'm an adult. I don't fucking have to talk to you if I don't want to.
Mhm.
That's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like people have this thing that they have to talk to people or they have to meet with people or they have to go to lunch with people and you feel obligated. Even I feel obligated too because you meet someone like let's go to coffee or whatever and you're like, "Oh yeah." But in the back of your mind you're like, "Why the fuck would I do that?" Like, no. Absolutely fucking not. And that is what you're doing when you say no is you're gifting the yes to something that you really want to do or that you really need to do.
Mhm.
And you got to think of it that way.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about this pre-podcast, but it's like that yes or no. Your body tells you yes or no, but people rationalize why they should say yes. But if your body is telling you no, then honor that. Your body was telling you no. You had a time in your life where your environment shaped this drive you have now because your body was telling you, like, I'm not doing this. And you get a nice reminder anytime you have to go back into that type of environment where that drive then on the opposite side picks up and is like, no, I'm making this work. This is going to happen and I'm going to make sure it happens. There's a really great teacher, Abraham Hicks, that I listen to, and she talks about the contrast and how important the contrast is. To your point, you have to know what you don't want as much as what you do want. That's the contrast. And I think about it in the sense of love. When you have been in a relationship and you've had your heart broken, you know love and you also know sadness. Like you know both sides of it. But most people, not that there aren't some that stop them from loving again, but most people then go, it's worth it for me to strive for love again, even though I've known the sadness of heartbreak. But in the next relationship, you take a lot of the learnings with you and you go, this is how, if you're on a path of evolvement and growth, you go, this is how I can show up better in a relationship. So maybe some of those same things don't happen again. Or maybe this is how I find a partner that's more aligned. So you have to know the contrast of both love and sadness to know how to do better the next time. And in business, it's like you have to know what you don't want. In in regards to my personal, I guess this would be more personal than business, but also is an environment that pushes my drive. Uh, I lived in when we moved to Dallas, we moved into a high-rise loft in the city
Mhm.
on Main Street.
Mhm.
Very cool building. I actually really liked the building itself because it was an old bank building, and our door was a vault door. So it was an old bank vault, and I was like, "There was millions of dollars in this room at one point, and this is
Mhm.
where I sleep. This is
Mhm.
kinda cool." Um, but the contrast of that, which I thought would be really, really great, and then there's homeless people banging on light poles at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're
Nice.
like, "Oh my god."
Nice.
There is a complete lack of peace in that space,
Yeah.
and I had to experience that because I always had this thought, I had Isaac Young, so I always lived in a place that was relative to some sort of private school district or something like I could have him in and easily get him back and forth. So that's how I chose where I lived. At this point, I didn't have that.
Mm.
So I was like, "Ooh, I wanna live in a high rise in the middle of the city. This will be a
Yeah.
lot of fun."
So cool.
Yeah, thought that was great. Anyway, but I had that contrast because now I'm so much more clear about wanting to be in the country
Mm.
and wanting the space and wanting the quiet. And, it's like that, what I do want, knowing what I don't want, drives me to a level of success and income and lifestyle that gets me closer again to the things that I actually want to create in my life.
Mhm.
Um, and in business, it's the same. You have to know the failures or the things that didn't work well for
Mhm.
you so that you can be more clear going forward, how do you create better business relationships? If you have a business relationship that didn't go well, or if you have an employee that hates you and sued you and talks crap about you, well, how do you set it up so that that doesn't happen next time? Like, you have to go through those things. Obviously, no one wants to be sued by an ex-employee. So, like,
Yep.
what do you have to have set up in your business so that that doesn't happen?
Mhm.
And you have to know both sides. So, I think when we make the what we don't want wrong, like you somehow made a mistake in that process. No, like it's all okay.
Yep.
Everything's okay. What you do want and what you don't want, and both are part of the bigger picture on what drives you to create something different going forward,
Mhm.
good and bad.
Mhm. 100%. Absolutely.
One of the things we've talked about is that things take longer than uh than you ever think that they're going to take.
Yeah.
And to that point, also expect it to be harder
Yep. Yep. Yep.
than what you think that it's going to be. Because understand the point is it is going to be hard.
Yeah.
And you've gone through some hard shit in
Yeah.
this process.
Look, the good times never last and the bad times never last.
Mm.
As some of the best business advice that one of my good friends
Uh,
have given me is that when it's good, it's not gonna last. When it's bad, it's not gonna last. Period. So most people will walk into things and expect what they see on Instagram, expect what they see on social media in that wow, this person was a giant success overnight. They absolutely crushed it. They think that it should feel exciting and that once you turn on the floodgates, there should be just ridiculous momentum and it should become a complete natural growth. And it always is going to have an upward trajectory no matter what. There's never going to be a downward or a plateau. And that's wrong. Like anything that's hard is pretty much worth doing, especially in business. A mentor of mine said that the value is in the inefficiencies, meaning that those difficult things that are really hard but go the extra mile for a clientele or a person or something you're doing in your business, that's where all the value is. That's what separates you from everyone
mm,
else. And
hmm,
going through difficulty isn't a sign that you're on the wrong path. It's usually a sign that you're on the right one. Because when I went to undergrad at Dartmouth, it was hard because those kids were super fucking smart. And then when I went through medical school, it was hard. Building a business from scratch was hard. Everything rebuilding the business is hard. Like nothing good comes out of the easy pathway. And the problem is we're fed all of the easy pathway good. For example, and this one just came out, and I'm going to do a probably post a couple shorts on this as well. There was this company called Medvi, which is a telehealth company online, and it was the first quote unquote $1 billion company made by a single person. So this guy who knew a lot about AI spent $20,000 on custom AI framework and setups where clients would come online and get treated for weight loss, so GLP-1s. So the story is there was a article in Forbes about him, I think about less than a week ago, about how he had this meteoric rise to stardom, first $1 billion business built with AI. The first month they did like $1,000. The second month they did like $400,000, and they've just exploded since then, right? So that was last, I don't know, Thursday or Friday. They posted that. Worth on track to do $1.8 billion this year. Well, and I was like, because I've been in this field so long, I'm like, what is going on there? Like, that's fucking, that doesn't make sense. One person, okay, he's shelling out things, but there's something not right there. Anyways, a few days later, I think it was like a day or two later, they looked into his business, because that's what happens, guys. Like, you can't just make $1 billion or make hundreds of millions of dollars and not be investigated by somebody.
Yeah.
That's part of fucking life. I'm sorry, that's part of healthcare and the government. If you are making money, you are going to be investigated for fraud, for abuse, for whatever. You're going to be investigated. Fucking or and get sued by big pharma. Fucking get used to it if you want to get big enough in this field. Anyways, they investigated him, and what happened was the guy had built, yes, a whole AI system, but he made 800 plus fake doctors that wrote the
Through AI?
prescriptions through AI that wrote the prescriptions. Made all his before and afters fake AI. You know, his online platform had no type of like HIPAA protection,
Mm.
and it was literally an automated system that was arbitrarily giving numbers to people in order. So literally you would have a link to buy your medication. It would be like Amanda 7 as the, it was to be the URL and then Amanda 7. And if you click that, you put your name, your email, your address, or whatever. Now, if you went on that same URL and just changed the URL to Amanda 6, then it would literally give you all the healthcare information of another Amanda
Oh,
that ordered like first name, last name, email, phone number, and then what medication they ordered.
wow.
Literally. It was a
Wow.
completely unprotected system that was just like throwing, and that becomes HIPAA because of the weight loss and because of like the actual medication that you ordered. So, I mean, it had hundreds of thousands of HIPAA violations at that point. God, I wish that system was back up. I wish I would have. It was funny that the guy who discovered it wrote an article about it because they gave him $1,000 to be quiet about it, but didn't make him sign an NDA or anything about it. So he wrote an article about it, which is fucking wild to read. But again, I wish it was up because I would have gone and like been like Amanda 1 got that information. Amanda 2 got that like got all those clients'
Call
information
these
and be like, Mark,
clients.
hey, I heard I heard that you're not gonna your company isn't gonna be selling very long. Would you like to transfer to Genesis? No. But that's again,
Mm,
that was like a day or two later. It was just that meteoric rise and that meteoric fucking crash down because again, if it's that easy to do it, then wouldn't fucking everyone be doing it? If
yeah.
it's that simple, wouldn't everyone fucking be doing that? And we see that all the time in the healthcare field. We hired a marketing company and they signed up some influencers and they gave us the influencers' names and phone numbers and addresses, and we're like, "Here, these are the influencers that we signed up. Send them meds." And it's like, what do you mean send them meds? It doesn't fucking work like that. What are you talking about? They have to do a full intake. They have to make sure they qualify for the medication, and then and only then, after the doctor's review, do they get sent medications. You just can't. And that's our world. But that's what's going on out there. And again, that's the easy way.
Mhm.
Like, nothing good comes from the easy pathway, guys.
Mm-mm.